Welcome, and thank you for your interest in this introductory training on the European Union General Data Protection Regulation by SciCubics. We aim to assist your organization towards GDPR compliance. The GDPR is a comprehensive regulation that mandates organizations to take significant measures to safeguard the personal data they collect and process. This training offers a regulation overview, key requirements, and high-level compliance guidance. However, we acknowledge that this sample may not cover all GDPR aspects, and some organizations may require more comprehensive training. Therefore, we offer a fully customizable, complete training session to meet your specific needs. We appreciate your feedback and would be happy to discuss additional topics of interest. For more information, please contact us. Thank you, and hope you enjoy this training session. So let's get started by answering the following question. What is GDPR? The General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, is a comprehensive, unified framework introduced by the European Union to strengthen the privacy rights of data subjects. A data subject under GDPR is any individual identifiable by personal data. Examples of personal data are names, addresses, email addresses, and includes sensitive data such as political views and health information. This regulation modernizes the EU's outdated data protection laws by addressing the privacy concerns raised by rapid technological developments and the increase in cross-border data flows. The GDPR also applies to organizations outside the EU that process the personal data of EU residents, making it a global standard for data protection. This regulation rests on key principles of transparency, accountability, and trust, and promotes privacy and building customer confidence. GDPR applies to you. If you are an organization operating within the European Union, or if you are an organization outside the EU that processes personal data of individuals in the EU when offering goods or services to them or monitoring their behavior. Why is GDPR important? The GDPR is essential in today's digital age as it strengthens data protection laws, making organizations more accountable for how they handle personal data. The GDPR recognizes that personal data is an important asset that belongs to individuals and should be protected from unauthorized access, misuse, and abuse. One of the most significant benefits of the GDPR is that it provides data subjects with greater control over their personal data, thereby helping protect their fundamental rights and freedoms. This increased control over personal data helps to build trust between organizations and their customers, ensuring that personal data is being used lawfully, fairly, and transparently. Personal data is defined as any information that relates to an identified or identifiable natural person. This definition includes any data that can directly or indirectly identify an individual. This means that even if certain information doesn't directly identify a person, it can still be considered personal data if it can be reasonably linked to that person. Examples of personal data are names, addresses, identification numbers, location data, IP addresses, cookies, genetic data, biometric data, and factors specific to the physical, physiological, genetic, mental, economic, cultural, or social identity of a person. Should be noted that the GDPR protects both automated personal data, such as computerized records, and manual personal data, such as paper files. Under the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, there are two key roles defined: data controllers and data processors. A data controller determines the purposes and means of processing personal data. In other words, they are the ones who decide why and how the personal data is processed. The data controller could be an individual, a company, a government agency, or any other organization. A data processor is an entity or organization that processes personal data on behalf of the data controller, following their instructions and under their authority. GDPR imposes specific obligations and requirements on both data controllers and data processors to ensure the protection of individuals' personal data. Under the GDPR, data subject rights are central. These encompass the right for individuals to access and request rectification of their personal data if inaccurate or incomplete. Individuals can also request data erasure under specific conditions. Further rights include the restriction of data processing, data portability, and the ability to object to data processing. Lastly, individuals have the right not to be subjected to automated decision-making processes, including profiling, without human involvement. Quiz time. Which of the following are considered data subjects under the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR? A. European Union residents only. B. European Union citizens and residents. C. Any individual, regardless of their location, whose personal data is being processed by an organization covered by the GDPR. The correct answer is C. Any individual, regardless of their location, whose personal data is being processed by an organization covered by the GDPR. Now let's look at the key requirements for data controllers. The GDPR places significant obligations on organizations when it comes to handling personal data. Here are some of the key obligations you need to be aware of. Obtain explicit consent from individuals prior to processing their data, with clear opt-out options. Ensure lawful data processing, which should serve a legitimate purpose and be necessary for that purpose. Maintain transparency about data collection and processing, informing individuals about their rights. Keep comprehensive records demonstrating compliance with all aspects of data processing. Limit data collection to what's necessary for its intended purpose. Uphold data subjects' rights, including access, rectification, erasure, processing restriction, data portability, and processing objection. These obligations ensure data protection and enhance trust between organizations and individuals. Organizations are required to implement appropriate technical and organizational measures to ensure the security and confidentiality of personal data. This means taking steps to protect against unauthorized access, accidental loss, destruction, or damage of personal data. Examples of these measures include implementing strong access controls, encrypting personal data, regularly testing and assessing the effectiveness of security measures, and providing ongoing training to employees on data protection best practices. By implementing these measures, organizations can ensure that personal data is being handled in a secure and responsible manner, while also complying with the GDPR's requirements for protecting personal data. Under the GDPR, organizations are required to report data breaches to their supervisory authority without undue delay, and in some cases, no later than 72 hours after becoming aware of the breach. Organizations must have processes in place to detect, investigate, and report data breaches promptly in order to comply with these timeframes. Delay in reporting can result in significant fines and reputational damage for organizations, and can also compromise the rights of affected data subjects. Other requirements mentioned in GDPR are Data Protection Officer and Data Protection Impact Assessment. A DPIA is a systematic assessment of the potential risks and impacts that certain data processing activities may have on the rights and freedoms of individuals. It helps organizations identify and mitigate data protection risks before initiating or implementing high-risk processing operations. DPIAs apply when processing operations are likely to result in high risks to individuals' rights and freedoms, such as large-scale systematic monitoring, processing sensitive data, or using new technologies. Quiz time. What is required by GDPR to contact an individual? A. Prior consent is always required. B. Only an email address is needed. C. A lawful basis for processing personal data is required. The correct answer is C. A lawful basis for processing personal data is required. Next, compliance. Compliance with GDPR not only ensures legal adherence, but it also offers a range of benefits for organizations. It builds customer trust, demonstrating a commitment to personal data protection. It also reduces data breach risks through robust security measures. In avoiding non-compliance fines, which can reach up to 20 million euros or 4% of global revenue, GDPR adherence is financially sensible. Additionally, improved data management through compliance can lead to better organizational efficiency and informed business decisions. By complying with GDPR, organizations can benefit from stronger customer trust, improved data management processes, and reduced risk of costly fines or data breaches. Non-compliance with GDPR can have serious consequences for both organizations and data subjects. For organizations, the potential consequences of non-compliance can include costly fines, damage to reputation, and loss of customer trust. In addition, organizations may be subject to legal action and face civil suits from individuals affected by data breaches. For data subjects, the impact of non-compliance by organizations can be severe. Data breaches can lead to identity theft, financial loss, and other forms of harm and threats to their health and safety. By complying with GDPR, organizations can mitigate these risks and protect both themselves and their customers from the potential consequences of non-compliance. Quiz time. What are the potential consequences of not complying with GDPR? A. Large fines and legal penalties. B. No consequences. GDPR is not enforced. C. A warning letter from the EU. The correct answer is A. Large fines and legal penalties. Well, that's a wrap. We hope that this training has provided you with a useful introduction to GDPR and the importance of compliance. By taking steps to comply with GDPR, organizations can not only meet legal requirements, but also build stronger relationships with their customers by demonstrating their commitment to protecting personal data. We thank you for taking the time to learn more about GDPR and encourage you to continue your journey towards compliance. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, please do not hesitate to reach out to us.